Alita Battle Angel could actually be coming back sooner than we expected, based on the latest updates floating around. If you're not familiar with it, it's a 2019 cyberpunk action movie based on Yukito Kishiro's manga Battle Angel Alita. The film was directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced by James Cameron and John Landau, with a script from Cameron and Laeta Kalogridis. It mixes live action with heavy motion capture and CGI to bring its world to life. In a recent interview with Forbes about why he decided to sell his California mansion, James Cameron casually hinted that multiple Alita Battle Angel sequels might actually be happening. He didn't share any details or timelines, but it sounds like development could be happening in between his work on the remaining Avatar sequels. Check out what he said. And on Avatar, I'm working in Wellington and Los Angeles, and on the new Alita Battle Angel films, I'll be working in Austin, so it just didn't make sense for us anymore. He also once said that, I appreciate the loyalty of the Alita fans. Robert Rodriguez and I have sworn a blood oath to do at least one more Alita film. In fact, we're thinking of an architecture that bridges to a third film, but we'll be satisfied if we can make one more, and we're making progress on that. In a recent interview earlier this year, Robert Rodriguez made it clear that a sequel is still very much on his radar. In fact, he even said the massive cyberpunk set from the first film is still sitting in his studio, basically waiting to be used again whenever the sequel happens. Before James Cameron's latest comments, Rodriguez had already reassured fans back in May that Alita Battle Angel 2 is still a real possibility. Yeah, we want to do another one for sure. You have to come to my studio. That whole city is still in my parking lot. 20-foot ceilings, 7 streets. It's like the largest standing set in the country, if not the world. Even though it looks like Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron are likely to return for an Alita Battle Angel sequel, it's still not clear who else from the original cast would be back. The first movie featured Rosa Salazar, Christoph Waltz, Jennifer Connelly, Mahershala Ali, Ed Skrein, Jackie Earle Haley, Keean Johnson, and more. That said, Rosa Salazar, who plays Alita, has always been very open about wanting to return. Back in 2022, she said she regularly talks with Cameron and Rodriguez about doing another film, joking that she might be pestering them so much it could turn into a legal issue. Even though that interview was a while ago, there's no sign she's changed her stance, especially now that both directors keep teasing progress on the sequel. I harass them all the time, like it might become a legal issue soon. I email with James Cameron a lot, and he's always like, I'm so down, which is crazy to hear someone like James Cameron be like, I'm so down. When we were in South by Southwest, I went over to Robert Rodriguez's house and had tea and was just talking about Alita. Really, with this much support from the creators and cast, it wouldn't be surprising if a sequel shows up in the next 2 to 3 years. The first film pulled in around $405 million worldwide, making it Robert Rodriguez's highest-grossing movie, and it was made on a budget of about $150 million. On top of that, its popularity didn't really stop at the box office. Over time, it grew into a cult classic, with fans constantly pushing for a sequel and keeping the conversation alive online. The story is set in the year 2563, about 300 years after Earth was destroyed in a massive war against the United Republic of Mars. In the scrapyards of Iron City, scientist Dr. Dyson Ito discovers a disembodied female cyborg with a fully intact human brain. He rebuilds her with a new body and names her Alita after his late daughter. When Alita wakes up, she has no memory of her past life. She soon meets Hugo, a street-smart guy who dreams of escaping Iron City and reaching the wealthy floating city of Zalem. She also crosses paths with Dr. Chiron, Ito's ex-wife. Hugo later introduces Alita to Motorball, a brutal rollerball-style sport where cyborgs compete in high-speed combat. But behind the scenes, Hugo is involved in a darker scheme, stealing cyborg parts for Vector, the man who runs the Motorball tournament and effectively controls Iron City's governing system, known as the Factory. One night, Alita secretly follows Ito and they end up getting ambushed by a group of deadly cyborgs led by Gruishka. Ito gets seriously injured, and in the moment, Alita instinctively unleashes Panzerkunst, a lost martial art designed for cyborg combat. She manages to take down 2 attackers and heavily damage Gruishka, forcing him to retreat. Afterwards, Ito reveals that he's actually a hunter-warrior, basically a bounty hunter working for the Factory. Meanwhile, Gruishka goes to Dr. Keean for help, who's now working under Vector. Alita starts to believe that fighting is the key to unlocking her forgotten past, but Ito tries to stop her from becoming a hunter-warrior. Things get more complicated when Alita discovers a powerful berserker cyborg body, advanced URM military tech, and realizes she might have once been part of that enemy force. When Ito refuses to install her into it, Alita feels betrayed and frustrated, unsure of why he's holding her back. Alita officially signs up as a hunter-warrior. Later at the Kansas bar, she and Hugo try to team up with other hunter-warriors to go after Gruishka. Things escalate when Zappin, another hunter-warrior, provokes her, and Alita ends up beating him in a fight, sparking a full-on bar brawl until Ito steps in. Soon after, an upgraded Gruishka shows up, sent by Zalem's mysterious ruler Nova to eliminate Alita. Gruishka overpowers her and seriously damages her body, but Ito, Hugo, and hunter-warrior McTeague manage to force him to retreat. Feeling responsible, Ito makes up with Alita and finally transfers her consciousness into the powerful berserker body. Meanwhile, Alita falls in love with Hugo and enters a motorball tryout, hoping to win the prize money so she can help him reach Zalem. But Hugo decides to leave his criminal life behind and confronts his partner Tanji. Zappin then shows up, kills Tanji, and frames Hugo for the murder. Hugo goes on the run and calls Alita for help. She abandons the motorball race to save him, but arrives too late. Zappin mortally wounds Hugo. Dr. Keean manages to save him by attaching his severed head to Alita's life support system. When Zappin tries to interfere again, Alita takes his Damascus blade and brutally cuts off his face in retaliation. Ito later saves Hugo by transplanting his head onto a cyborg body. He also reveals a harsh truth to Alita. Vector's promise to help Hugo reach Zalem was never real, and in reality, the only way anyone from Iron City ever gets there is by becoming a motorball champion. Alita then confronts Vector, who shockingly reveals that Dr. Keean has already been killed and stripped for her organs. Vector also brings back Gruishka, but this time Alita easily destroys him using her original berserker body. During the chaos, Nova begins speaking through Vector, showing that he's been pulling strings from Zalem all along. When Nova threatens her friends, Alita kills Vector on the spot. Ito later contacts her with urgent news. Hugo is climbing a cargo tube toward Zalem. Alita catches up and begs him to come back with her, and he agrees. But before they can escape, Nova activates a serrated defense ring that tears Hugo apart and sends him falling from the structure. Alita manages to catch him, but she can't pull him back up. In their final moment, Hugo thanks her before slipping away. Months later, Alita has become a rising star in motorball, driven by revenge. She raises her sword toward Zalem while a smiling Nova watches from above, setting the stage for what's next. Because I'll be bringing you more updates on upcoming movies before they even drop. So keep an eye out for that, along with the latest on your other favorite shows and movies. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.